Hello, and welcome back to the Tina Willis podcast. So, first of all, thank you so much to everybody who listened to episode one. I was honestly so nervous putting it out there, but I've had some lovely messages. So, thank you so much. And it's reminded me why I wanted to start this podcast in the first place. So, it's all about real conversations. It's all about real stories. It's all about real transformation. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's topic. I have got my can of Diet Coke here. So I want to ask you something today that I know so many women experience, all right, but very few actually talk about it. And that's losing your identity. And I come from a place of knowing. Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, when did I become this person? When did I become this version of me? Not because your life is terrible, not because you're unhappy all the time. You're probably muddling your way through it without a thought, flying through it on a wing and a prayer, like I always say. But somewhere along the way, you stopped feeling like you. I know I certainly did. And I didn't realize it until I hit burnout at the age of 57. You know, 30 years in corporate life, I just lived driven. I was ambitious. The career consumed me. I was hardworking. I climbed that ladder. I hit targets. I managed teams. I did everything I was supposed to do. I was conditioned. I was brought up that way. And for a long time, that's how I thought life looked. It was all about the promotion. It was all about the responsibility, the salary, the recognition. I was a person who I did want recognition. Hands up, who doesn't? It makes you feel good. But what nobody tells you is that sometimes you're so busy building that career, you can slowly lose yourself. And not only lose yourself, you can slowly forget about the people who you care most about in the world, because you're all consumed in the career. And when you do lose yourself, it's not overnight, guys. It's not dramatically. It's very gradual. And it's so gradual that sometimes you don't even notice it's happening. You know, I didn't. Because you become known as that reliable individual. All right, the one that everybody can count on, the one that always gets things done, the one who everybody can depend on. And while you're busy being all those things for everybody else, you stop being anything for yourself. How many of you feel like that? Can you relate to it? Because I certainly can. I remember reaching a point in my life when my entire identity was wrapped up in the career, in the job. Who I was, what I did, what I achieved, the targets I hit month on month on month, the results I produced. And when that's how you've measured yourself for years, I think something interesting happens. I think that you forget who you are on the outside of it. You forget about what excites you more in life. You forget about what lights you up. What really excites you and lights you up and puts that smile on your face? What makes you feel alive day in, day out? And that's where I really found myself, because I found myself exhausted. I found myself burnt out. I found myself completely disconnected from life. Not because I wasn't successful, because I was, but because I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't happy. And I didn't actually even think about that word happy until I became ill in corporate life. I was happy in my emotional life, in my personal life. I was happy. But when I think back, was I making everybody else happy? Was I actually even making myself happy? Because there's a huge difference between fulfilled and the surface happy, the surface smile, you know? And I think that's the big difference. There's so many women today carrying around that invisible exhaustion, not just physically feeling tired, when your back aches and you're all, oh, not just that physical one, but that mental one, that emotional one, that exhaustion, or, that constantly comes from putting everybody else's feelings and needs and wants first before your own. Looking after your family, supporting your partner, showing up at work, paying the bills, month in, month out, the roller coaster, being everything to everyone. And somewhere in the middle of all that, you just slowly disappear. Not completely, but enough to make you find yourself wondering, what happened to me? What happened to the woman who had dreams? What happened to the woman who had passions? What happened to the woman who believed everything was possible? Where did she go? Where did she go? So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, boy, that's exactly how I feel, please know something. You're not alone. There's so many women who felt like I did right now, right here, out there in the world. And more importantly, you're not lost. Not at all. Because here's what I've discovered. The woman you think you've lost is still here, still really deep down here inside. She's underneath all those responsibilities. She's underneath all those expectations. She's underneath the routines that she's been living all her life on autopilot. She hasn't disappeared. She's just been waiting to come out again, waiting for you to reconnect with that woman inside of you, waiting for you to choose yourself again, you know, not with a massive life overhaul, not with something that's, not quitting your job tomorrow or making dramatic changes or, binning your partner. I don't mean it that way, but being aware. It begins with asking yourself some honest questions. It begins with asking yourself, are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Do you have a passion and a purpose that you wake up to every day? What do you really want? Those are questions that I ask myself. And, if money wasn't an issue, if fear wasn't an issue, what would you do? Because those are the questions that I did ask myself. And those are the questions that changed my life. Because once you start asking those better questions, you start getting different answers, and for me, boy, that led to so much personal development. I concentrated so much on mindset work, growth, learning, reading. I read books like this, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Awesome book, bookmarked inside, you can see. I actually read this, Show Up Anyway, and this helped me so much with my online business by Sam Hind. Show Up Anyway. You don't have to be an influencer to make an impact. It's not too late to start here. Amazing book. So I did so much growth work on me and exploring new possibilities. And slowly I found myself finding me again, finding who this woman was. It wasn't about becoming somebody new. It was about becoming more of who I'd always been, and that's what I want for you. That's what I want for you. I don't want you to become somebody else. All right. I want you to reconnect with that person that you've always been underneath everything that life has piled upon you along the years. So today I want to challenge you. Actually, I want to leave you with a challenge. Okay. Find 10 minutes for you. Just 10 minutes. No distractions. No phone. no television. And I bet you'll feel like some part of you's been cut off. But I really want to challenge you to do this. So 10 minutes without any distractions. No responsibilities, no running around after the kids or the grandkids, just you on your own in silence for 10 minutes. And I want you to ask yourself this question. Who am I when nobody needs anything from me? Who am I? All right. And then write down in a journal, however it may look, whatever comes up for you. All right. Just write it down because you might be surprised by the answer. Write it down. And if today's episode resonated with you, then I'd love to hear from you because I want you to send me a message. All right. And leave a comment below here. Share it with something who needs it. Share it with somebody who wants to hear it, And I would encourage you, if this conversation speaks to you right now, you may also enjoy my book. This is me, but it's all about you. All right. And it's available on Amazon. I will put the link here in the description of this Spotify and of this podcast, you know. But it's there for you to use. But thank you so much for spending this time with me. Remember, you're not stuck. You're not broken. You've not lost yourself. You are still there. You are waiting for you to appear again. So until next time, take care and I'll see you all soon.